So we'll pick it up here. We'll say we're 2 episodes in. We've kicked off our adventure in the snowy town of Osk. How are we feeling, gang?
Oh my gosh. We talked to a dead guy. We feel great.
Life is great. We're thriving, actually. I think this is we are so in our element. There's been blood, there's been dead people.
Yeah, I'd say episode 1 was like a cold start was such a great title because it was like, ooh, yeah, real cold. We're kind of just like muscling, scraping through this one. But episode 2 really felt like, okay, we got blood, we got death. We're finally here. And we got paid.
Yeah.
We got a flake. We got a gold piece.
Yeah. To give you a little more context, because we're just spouting nonsense right now. Our friends Farrah and Skink, at the end of our last episode, had happened upon a dead body. Well, in this episode, we got to help out with the investigation by talking to our dead friend, and we got to get paid for that, which we love. And what else did we get to do? Then we got to go to a fancier hotel and meet a hot centaur. Well, not yet, but we're excited about that one.
Hot centaur is looking for us and is at the door that I just slammed in his face.
You gotta play hard to get. Fan art. Just shivered a little bit. Really presumptuous to be like, we're gonna have fan art, but like, let's see. We met Estelle Quick, the lawman in the town. Fun peek behind what we'll do a little bit in these after shows here is little peek behind the screen at like the decisions that happened, either planned or unplanned from the GM's perspective. I had originally named her Esther Quick because I thought that was a fun little bit of I don't know, phonics. And realized seconds before I introduced her that she was investigating Chester's death. And I was like, absolutely no world can I have Esther investigate Chester and not fuck up every single thing.
Absolutely. Well, Estelle works.
So it was just like, Estelle, it's Estelle. So that was something.
I think my new favorite thing is avoiding when you are very obviously trying to have an NPC talk to us.
Listen, she's coming.
Look, we are a goblin party through and through to the point that we're just actual goblins with our GM, just annoying.
It's fun. I think GMs, and this is a little free piece of GM advice, the first couple sessions, you've got to just sort of feel out like, the game you're playing is figuring out what motivates your players and their characters for this campaign. So Matti and I actually met. She's my wife, if you don't know. I am her husband. We're charming. We actually not met, but like got to know each other in a D&D 5e campaign that I was running, and it was an airship sky pirates swashbuckling adventure, which is going to be a relic setting at some point. I went into that campaign with a group of our friends and was like, I know what they're going to want to do. They're going to want to do all this pirate stuff. They're going to want to like, here's the big mystery. And like, here's these like big factions that are waging this like seafaring war and all this stuff's going on. And there's these undead ships and blah, blah, blah. And they immediately were like, fucking none of that. I want no part of any of these problems that you've placed in front of us. We are going to build a smuggling empire. And they just, that's what happened. And I was like, yeah, I guess fuck that warlock and lich and whatever. It's fine. It's just, we're gonna, yeah, okay. And they did. They started just hijacking boats and creating a fleet. And it was a ton of fun and nothing that I had expected. But that's where the fun stuff is. So you got to just figure out like, oh, that was what I was going to say. It was one of the first indicators I had that was going to be a problem for me was I placed a sinking ship in front of them. Like this huge ship that was like going down in flames and like maybe the powder's going to cook off. And I'm expecting there's going to be this like encounter, this like race against time. They got to get on board and get people off and try and rescue any treasure that's on there. And immediately they pulled up. They said, oh, that looks dangerous. Fuck that. And turned around and left. I went, oh. So my new policy is you set the world in motion, figure out in a couple of sessions what the characters care about, and then you hurt that, and that's how you get them to do things.
Yeah, and in our first episode, we were given a few options, and like I reflected on this later after the episode was over. Like we had the option to look for someone with like a big like pay incentive in a bunch of like warm fancy restaurants, or we could run outside into the cold to track some people who were going faster than us into an unknown location. And we're like, let's run out into the cold.
Look, I was going to say, I think the things that are motivating us are emerging, right? I feel like when you're playing a character, sometimes when I start, I don't even know, like I have a general idea of the character's backstory and everything, but I don't necessarily know what those pieces of the backstory will do to like direct those decisions. But we've kind of established that Farah and Skink are kind of knowledge seekers, relatively adventurous, a little bit mischievous, have some taboo skills. And so I think what's emerging, at least from Farah's point of view, is that like she's going to go for the thing that she finds probably most intriguing. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. I was curious earlier in this episode when Chris said that you got a blood token.
Yes.
If anything was going to happen.
That wasn't...
But there's a time limit on that, right? So we just ran out of time to use it.
I would have needed an action that, like, I didn't have anything that I needed to do with it that I have found out now. And I'm still kind of learning all of the magic that I can do with Farah's character. But that will, I'm positive, come up again in the future. But I have a time limit on it. It's about a minute, and so there wasn't anything immediately that I could see that I could do with it. You will find that Farah can be a pretty brutal character at times. If not to other people, then to herself as well. That'll come out, I think. And there's there's layers to that too. Like I have a 3 class, or sorry, what am I saying? Is class right? Yeah, I have a 3 class character. Yeah. My brain's, it's the end of the day. Okay. But yeah, there's layers to that brutality to her, which I don't feel like has come out yet.
No, it's been, this has been somewhat different than some of the games that like we 3 have played in the past. And that I haven't thrown a lot of combat immediately in front of you guys.
I kind of like it though. I'm digging it. I'm building anticipation. I'm like, ooh.
I will say, peek behind the screen. I was prepared. There were some chances today. Not as much there was like one path last time where I was like, if they go fucking hard in that direction, like narratively, something might pop off there. But it wound up, very quickly. You guys kind of like were just interested in other things, which is totally fine. This time I was like, there are a couple of ways this goes. I know we're starting with the murder. We're going to see how involved you guys get with that. Because there was a world where you guys were like, peace, and just bolted out the window. And then it's like, well, that's suspicious. Like that could have been a whole thing. So like there were a couple of avenues, and I don't want to spoil because I like to recycle. There were a couple of ways where I was like, there might be a fight this time. We'll see. Didn't wind up happening. Totally valid. So those are, just things in my back pocket. Because the thing is, every time you skip the DM's hook on something or take the other path, it just goes back in the deck, baby. And it's just like, yeah, all right, no, you guys didn't use my encounter that time. It'd be crazy if that came up again in some other situation. So like nothing goes to waste here. We use all the parts of the game prep. But
yeah, I feel very much like I'm living in a sitcom where like there's this character who like is around and we're just gonna have our encounter later. Like mysterious elf lady, we could have approached her in the first episode. No. We didn't. We could have approached her in the second episode and like we looked at her, but we actively chose to say like, we got enough going on right now. We'll come back to you later. You're here every day. We know where to find you. You know, and I'm just like, it's like we get to savor this meeting. Like it's coming. We know we'll meet her someday, but like not today.
Absolutely. Let's do, I've seen some other shows do like Roses and Thorns and stuff at the end of like an after show or whatever, where they're like, here's the thing I liked, here's the thing that sucked or hurt or my character didn't like or whatever. I think what I'm more interested in doing is Roses is fine if you had like a favorite part of an episode that you wanted to be like, that was cool, or my character, you know, I'm excited for that or whatever. But the thing I'm more interested in is like, I don't have a short word for it, not like predictions, but like what is the most intriguing thing kind of on the board right now for you or your character? Like could be meta, could be in character.
So can I go first?
Yeah, go.
So I told you Farrah is going to go for whatever's most intriguing. Well, now that she's had her hands on a flake, she's locked on. She might actually, this might actually motivate her to talk to the elf lady because she knows that they found flakes while going after her scroll. So she's in it to win it now. Yeah, for sure.
I will say a rose from me was just, there's a hot centaur outside.
That was the best part of this episode.
I was like, so I don't know how the cut's going to come together with the end of the episode quite yet. But for me, it was just like, there was a world where we continued that scene for another few minutes and got to a nice, like, and you go to bed and that's what we're in the episode or whatever. But immediately I was like, full stop. That's where the episode ends. Like, it has to be on that line. Like, there's no world in which we get a better send-off.
Absolutely. I actually really liked Rose for me was that we got to see Skink's magic this time and Farrah's magic last time. Like, I think their characters are starting to, the characters are really starting to show their strengths.
Yes.
And I love that.
Yeah, I will say that before we started this episode, I spent like half an hour thinking about what happened, and I was like, wait, I finally have a dead body, because I've never played a necromancer before, so it was fun to review some of the spells and have like a little plan for what I was hoping I would have the opportunity to do, and then getting to really do it was great. And then another little rose for me was being pointed at by a tail. Yes. That was real fun. Don't be surprised if Skink tries to flirt with that character later.
I love it.
Listen, I know what's happening.
This poor child. You realize that she's like young.
But, 100%. I don't think the flirting is going to work. Like, I don't at all think that it's going to be very receptive, but that doesn't mean Skink's not going to try.
Absolutely.
There are two types of role-playing game players. There are the ones who flirt with the tieflings or the fiendlings or the cambions or whatever other version, whatever other system you talk about. And the fucking liars. Like, it's just, like, it always... Listen, Matti knows, we've had discussions as I've been designing Relict and like coming up with these different like lineages and like, okay, we're going to do the fiendlings and the animal people and this, that. And it's like, people are, it's like, yeah, I know. Okay. But they still, it's fine. I know what they're going to do. It's fine.
So great.
I will say an intrigue for me that I'm looking forward to is just I like that we haven't gone all in on both characters using all of their abilities from all of their classes all at once. I think that's really fun. Is like Farrah, until this episode, you had really just only tapped into the enchanter stuff.
Well, and I still didn't fully show.
And we've still only a little bit. Yeah, exactly.
I tried to hint at it. Like, this is maybe something that'll come up later.
Yeah, so I like that there's some layers kind of coming out in the skill tree. I love
that,
there.
and I hope that is fun for listeners and viewers because it kind of. I hope it's intriguing. I hope it's as intriguing as it feels, as it is to play. Honestly.
Yeah, I hope so.
For sure.
And then I think it helps remind people that this isn't a world where you can just spend magic all day. Like there's a cost. And so if the characters aren't using it all the time, it's because like they know this takes energy. And it's probably more like realistic for the characters to be judicious about when they're using their skills and when they're not.
Yeah, well, and there's social capital to factor in too.
Yeah.
Like we talked a little bit. I don't know if it's going to make it into the episode or not, but like I think it was on one of our breaks. Like Skink's got necromantic abilities. That doesn't mean if you raise the murdered brother of the bereaving woman next to you as a zombie thrall, that's not going to lead to a violent outburst. Like there's also like, if Farah taps into some of her blood token abilities in mixed company who aren't going to be amenable to that sort of thing in the moment, like it's not a barroom trick, it's a heat of the moment, like chips are down situation. So like, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
I kind of love that we both have
just because you can doesn't mean you should.
I kind of love that we both have taboo magic in our repertoire.
Yes.
So I think that's leading into the like slow unfolding, because I've definitely held back. I wasn't gonna use a blood token for shits and giggles, excuse my language, on
No. I will say you can pop them for mana.
I know, and I thought about that, but I didn't really need it during this one.
It wasn't super necessary at that time, but just something to keep in mind. And I'll say, to kind of close this out here, last little like looking forward intrigue for me is just me as a GM. I'm starting to really enjoy finding ways for Pip to instigate stuff.
That was fun.
Yes. I love that you had Pip pay for the hotel.
Hilarious.
Yes. Yes.
And for a second I thought you meant that like Pip knows how much money is.
Nope.
But no.
Pip knows coin.
Yeah.
Pip had a coin, and I think he registers when you guys like gesture for a coin, and he's just like a little like, here's one. And like maybe it's right and maybe it's too much. Like it's just whatever he's got in his little nest.
That means that every once in a while he throws out like a single copper, right?
Oh, totally. Or, a fucking platinum or something. Like just
And then we have to be like, oops, how'd that get there? And like pick it up, put it away.
I actually might start rolling a D4 and just being like, if you guys have money, just like it's copper, silver, gold, platinum.
Yes. Perfect.
Oh my God.
Which brings me to a final question here. I want to put this to you guys because we're ending our first day in game. Do you want to do a random roll at the start of every episode for who Pip decides to nest with as mother? Or do you want to just?
What it was gonna be.
Well, I was gonna give you the option to just alternate because there's a chance that like we roll Farah or Skink like 10 times in a row. So it's up to you guys. I'm happy either way. I think
we're not doing it every time we play. We're doing it every day, right?
Every day in game, So I was like, there's a chance if he rolls it the same person like 4 days in a row, that might be like 20 episodes.
True.
Like.
That's true.
Probably not 20, but still.
I mean, I don't mind all that much. Like I don't mind leaving it to randomness, especially because I do think he'll hop between the two of us per episode.
Yeah, it's just like kind of who he rides along with.
It's not like he only interacts with them. It's just who he's on, really, most of the thing.
Yeah. Home base. And like if you guys split up, he's gonna go with that one. So like that's kind of where it comes in more.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like the separation hasn't come into play yet. But I'm still willing to leave it to the dice.
The dice gods. I like leaving it to them.
So it shall be, and so it is. Pip is left to the dice gods. Him flipping the animation just when he decides.
It's my favorite.
It was so cute. I love that. I love
like,
that.
That's in a career of a lot of visual art stuff. That is the greatest thing I've done. Like clearly, like just flipping a bird PNG 180 degrees at the right time.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is the pinnacle
this
of my
is what
achievements.
You got.
Oh yeah!
Come on.
Fireworks for
Cue the
Pip.
Apple fireworks thumbs up macro, whatever that is. That's too funny. All right, guys, we are going to stop it right there. That is episode 1 and 2 of the Nick's Archive after show. We'll come up with a clever name for this at some point and put it up in places. This one might go up in the mainstream. Future ones may be a Patreon thing.
We could call it Day's End.
Days End. Okay, because the Nyx archive is Nyx's night. Yeah. All right. I like it. So I'll make some branding for that.
I like it.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me tonight, ladies. We will sign off here and be done.
Yeah. Until next time.